Although last night's 60 Minutes piece focused mainly on the music, the kids who belted out, and the woman who builds them up.
Wow!
Leslie Stahl also made brief mention of an apartment building here in the Bronx where a couple of the kids live. She said it was an entire building set aside for kids who are being raised by grandparents.
We all have to stick together.
Yeah.
We take care of each other.
You seem like a big family, like a village.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's what it seemed like to me.
First thing I learned is that it's mostly grandmothers who live here. Built in 2005, this inner-city public housing project was the first of its kind in America. It's now home to 50 low-income grandparents, some of them 80 years old plus, each sole guardian of at least one of their grandchildren, if not 6.
Oh, go girl.
Each trying to make the most of whatever tragedy it was that put them in this position in the first place.
She was on drugs.
For many here, the problem was addicted parents.
Drugs.
And if it wasn't drugs, it was almost certainly something worse.
How'd you end up in this situation?
My son.
Your son?
Yeah, he was murdered by their mother.
After that, Annie Barnes got custody of her infant granddaughter. That was 16 years ago. Today, Shaquila is doing great and dreams of becoming a lawyer, thanks in part, she says, to an overabundance of grandmothering.
Do the other grandparents, do they treat you like their grandchild as well?
Yeah. I like a lot of grandparents in here.
Residents say that network of support is part of what makes this place work. The other key element, they say, is the after-school programs, which provide recreational and academic activities for the kids.
Okay, say oil!
If the programs disappeared from this building,
All would be disaster.
really?
Yes, it would.
The last thing those ladies want is to have their grandkids out here on the streets after school. And it's a legitimate concern. We just walked out of the lobby, and a half block down there, someone was just shot at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
The children would have been right out there in the middle of the whole thing, and then one of them could have gotten hit.
And while the real world beats at the door, the residents inside circle their wagons like never before.
That's where the strength is.
Last week, word came down that state funding for those after-school programs is drying up.
What little they was giving us, they want to cut it.
If you cut this, you cut that, well, we gotta fight that.
We're going to do whatever we can to help with these children. So we've been doing pretty good with the cake bake.
In a fundraising effort only a grandmother could conceive, residents here are baking cakes to sell at local senior centers. At $1 a slice, it'll take about 40,000 cakes to make up for what they're slated to lose. But Lord knows, they've got the ovens and the fire.
And they
Of course, the grandparents also plan to lobby lawmakers, and they're going to be a pretty hard bunch to say no to.
So many grandparents these days are responsible, Steve, for raising their grandkids. What did you tell me, about 2.5 million
That's right.
across the country?
That's right.
This program looks fantastic. Do you think they'll try to replicate it?
They have tried. People come from all over the world, actually, to see how this works. And there are some other programs around the country, and I'm sure now there'll be more.
And do experts think it's effective? I mean,
It's all anecdotal at this point, but these grandparents swear by it.
Yeah, well, you can see why. It must be so nice for them and for the kids.
It really is. The
Yeah.
kids love it.
Steve Hartman. Steve, thanks so much.